we can share it. I saw this on Twitter first. This is where I first saw about this, and I saw what my community shared to me, not the narrative that the police gave to the news the next day. This is a new matter, and this is a new wave of people that are ready to stand up and fight back. And this doesn't have to be this difficult. If the police acknowledge that they can make a change, acknowledge that we can work together to make their lives easier by cutting their funding and cutting their responsibilities because their job is apparently so stressful, then we'd be done with this. But it's not. They refuse to back down. They refuse to acknowledge accountability. They instead insist that they're in the right somehow. And if they're going to keep this up, if they're going to keep pushing back against us, then we're going to have no choice but to shut it down. Thank you.
I'm old school, I got it written down on paper, not on my phone. Thank you, this is amazing. All these people here, all you all, and all you people on the course is awesome. So I'm the director of a group called Berks, and we're about the business of making sure that government works for all of us, not just not just white people, not just white people in Wyomissing, but for everybody. Those who are struggling, everybody, That's what it's supposed to be, and that's why we want. There's a lot we don't know about this situation. We don't know why the police were called to the Walmart in the first place. There are lots of conflicting reports about that. But what we will probably never know exactly what Mr. Gracius is doing in the store unless Walmart is here. There are plenty of folks leaving up right now saying, hold on, don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to judge. You don't know what happened. Yeah, that's true. We don't know everything that happened. We do know a few things, though. We know that if he did behave inappropriately in the Walmart, he was not the first person to do so.
Sure, he was not.
Right? I mean, is it a crime to ride a bike in the aisle at Walmart? I know a couple people who've done it myself. We know that the store was happy to take his money. They took his money and called the police on it. What's more, we know that calling the police on a black man is potentially fatal.
Yes.
Anywhere. We have seen it. We know how this works. We have seen it over and over again. We also know, this is kind of crazy, we know that Walmart didn't ask for Mr. Gracius to be arrested. They just said they wanted his name so he could be put on the list, I guess, of people they don't want in this store. They already had his name because he purchased the bike with the credit card. So now we have the police. So the police got called, right? They weren't asked to arrest him. They weren't asked to rough him up and smash him around and throw him into a car.
Full time.
But they did that because he, quote unquote, resisted arrest. I ask you, would you not resist arrest if you thought it wasn't fair? Of course you would. Of course you would. Why should we just say, oh, okay, arrest me? What? No. So already the police have escalated the situation. They escalated the tension when it should have been de-escalated. They cuffed him, they tased him, they yelled at him, they shoved him into a car, they put their arms around his neck.
They all tied him.
None of that was necessary. None of it was necessary. It should have been de-escalated, no harm done, should not have been a problem. Whatever he did, it's not worth getting arrested for. It's not arrest worthy. And then they charged him with multiple counts, including felony charges of aggravated assault and attempts to cause serious bodily injury.
Felony charges.
Right? Right? Because he pushed back like any sane person would do. Again, we don't know what prompted Walmart to call the police, but it sure looks like it could have been handled in a very different way. Am I right?
Right, that's why we gotta defund them.
That's right. We are in the midst of a very special moment in our history, and I don't just mean the pandemic. That's pretty special too. But I mean the national conversation, the national reckoning that has come as a result of the grievous murder of George Floyd. Communities all over the country are rethinking what public safety means, and that's going to mean Wyomissing too. Look, we all want the same thing. We want to be able to live in peace with our families. We want to have good schools. We want to have a nice place to live. We want to be able to live free from fear. Right? So what we're talking about when we talk about defund the police is reimagining the formula for the quality of life. Like, what does it take? What is the formula? Right now, we know that the Reading Police Department gets 40%, actually 39, just rounding up a little bit, 39% of the city's budget. What the heck? What? What is Wyomissing? Do you know what percentage it is? There we go. Wyomissing's budget is twice what Parks and Rec are. And we know how nice the Parks and Rec are here, right?
Right.
I took a walk this morning in a beautiful park with my dog. It's beautiful, well maintained. Somebody paid to water it, mow it, and everything. But Wyomissing, this is what's so crazy about this, because Wyomissing often gets lifted up as the example of what it looks like when you don't center the police, when you center other things, when you prioritize education, when you prioritize parks and nice streets and decent garbage pickup and all the things that, make it a nice place to live. And yet this happened here, right? This happened here. So there are a lot of things that are unknown about this situation, but we do know that this should not have happened the way it did. We do know that the police response was aggressive and served to de-escalate the situation in a way that should not have happened.
It was uncalled for.
It was uncalled for. It was uncalled for. We can all think of plenty of ways that situation could have been handled in non-violent, dignified ways that preserved Mr. Gracius' dignity, calmed the situation down, whatever it was, and let everybody go about their business. Okay? So, just remember that. When we talk about defund the police, we're talking about priorities. We're talking about where we put our money. A budget is a moral document. A budget is a moral document. A budget is an expression of what you care about. our values. Right? Yes. All right. If you want to know more about how you can help get out of the road, come to Berks Stand Up. Thank you.
Hey y'all. Y'all might know me as Security King. I'm the activist on Facebook. I'm very vocal with what's going on the road right now. You know, someone told me that we're doing too much, like going a little too hard for Stanley. But Stanley's viral now. And when you put that pressure on police, and you put that pressure on privileged people, you know, like the privileged person that just drove past here and called us assholes because we're fighting for a better life for our black children. We're assholes, right? Okay, all right. So anyway, we're just trying to be treated equal. We don't want anything better than anyone else. That's not what we want. When we say defund the police, we don't mean get rid of the police. That's what they're not understanding. But the thing is, I think they do understand. They just don't want to, you know, comprehend with what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? So when Stanley was arrested, he was asking, why are you arresting me?
Which is a valid question.
Exactly. You are not supposed to arrest someone without telling them why they're being arrested, or it's kidnapping. You can't sit here and tell us to follow the law, but still watch the police break the law and tell them they're doing a good job. Reading Eagle. I don't know if they're here right now, but Reading Eagle. They don't give a damn about us. They don't give a damn about minorities. They let them people go on Reading Eagle and call us trash, call us thugs, say we're living off of the government. They don't even know us. They just know that we live in Reading. Who do they think they are? We're here fighting for a better future for our kids. My son is a black little boy, and he doesn't know what's going on because he's only 2 years old. But think about the conversations I have to have with him when he's of age. Do you know how hard that's going to be? I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to be scared. We shouldn't have to still be protesting for the same damn thing in 2020. It's 2020. Exactly. Exactly. So you're going to tase someone in the neck. You're going to tase someone in the neck for riding a bike through Walmart. And then lie for the charges. Exactly. 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 All I want to say, guys, is thank you so much for coming out today to stand with not just Stanley, because it's not only about Stanley. It's about all of us. It's about a better life for all of us. And together with good people like you, we can do it. We just gotta keep going. We gotta keep applying pressure. We can't stop. I know it's hard. And I know some days you probably don't even want to do it because I'm an activist. Some days I don't. Some days I want to turn off my phone. But I have to.
It doesn't matter. Don't talk about voting. Write your congressman. Blow up Wyomissing.
Yes.
Talk to whoever you
Tell
want
it.
to talk to. Get to Harrisburg. I don't even give a shit. Go to Harrisburg. Tom Walsh. Whoever you
Do what you gotta do.
Because let me tell you, Stanley reminded me that I have 3 black sons, 1 autistic. All right? No eye contact. So every freaking time he has to go out, my fear is 3,000 times heightened. So don't tell me nothing. All right? White people, black people, pink people act a fool every day. But what we do see is the disparity in the treatment by police officers. All right? I am not asking for no damn no kind of privilege whatsoever.
Yes.
I'm asking that when I leave my friggin' home, I know I'll be okay.
Yes.
I am not a lawbreaker, nor my children are a lawbreaker.
They're not criminals just because they're black.
So don't you judge them until you have accosted them and treated them fairly.
Period. 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 Y'all hear? Being black in America is getting harder and harder every day because we look like we're playing a race card, or you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we're not going to just sit back and be treated like this anymore. We're not doing it anymore. So expect a whole bunch more of this. Come up here.
Can I say this? Yeah.
I'm trying to talk. Come up here. Get the microphone so you don't lose your voice, sweetheart. I say this.
I was just really taken aback about how many doctors we have practicing without license. We have so many people who have always some kind of negative, blame the victim, the person who suffered, because what? You don't know him from a jack of paint, but all you know is that he's black and he was in Wyomissing. Okay, fine. I guess we have the narrative that when you're in Wyomissing, you have to act a certain way. All right? Fine. I understand that. But to give Mr. Gracius, whatever his name is, Stanley, a felony 1 charge, I am lost on what I'm seeing. All right? Now, the DA releases their statement. I didn't have a problem. I knew exactly what was going to be said. Blame the victim throughout his past transgression, because what? He doesn't matter. He's a second-class citizen, okay? Second-class citizen. So whatever bone we throw at them, they have to take it. Let me tell you, we're in a different time. We are in a different time. All right? We are in a different time. All right? Let me tell you, this doesn't define me. It has never defined me. Every opportunity I've had, I have worked hard for, just like other people. I hear people say, the scum of the earth, they're on welfare. I've never been on a day of my life. I've worked 2-3 jobs, went to college. I take care of your babies and their emotional well-being. So who is taking care of my babies? That's the question. Because if they're seen like as criminals every day, what are you putting as the narrative for their future? That is my question. So I am angry and outraged. All right? I called yesterday to Wyomissing Police to ask, how do you find a formal report? I didn't know I was talking to Sergeant Moore at the time. He took the call. He said, well, you have to get out and fill out a form. I said, fine. I said, well, how long does that take? He said, well, you have to fill out the form and tell your name. Shit, I told you my name when I identified myself. All right? He said a lot of people won't, when you're filing a formal complaint, they don't want to give your name. Only to find out later on, it was Sergeant Moyer who was at the scene. All right? Stop just bending over and feeling sorry for yourself. Stop. You have a right to be here. All right? We're all humans. All right? And I hear people say all lives matter. Absolutely. I respect every last one of them. All right? So I'm hoping that people can understand the fear that I live with. It was there always under the surface. But when I had children in this climate, all right? In this climate, all right? I work with youths and it affects them. All right, 21-year-old kids are deemed criminals without a person even knowing them, never having a word with them. Who are you to judge? Stop! Mr. Stanley paid for his bike. He paid for his bike. He said, what are you charging me for? No threatening language was used. He wasn't cursing profanity. He was not resisting. He was not physically trying to assault anyone. What happened that Mr. Gracius, what's his name, Mr. Stanley, I keep saying his name wrong, that he, in the end, was on the receiving end of the police?
What happened?
What was wrong? What was wrong? What did he do so wrong?
Nothing. What happened that he was on time?
So start thinking about not just protesting. Protesting is good, but that's not where the buck stops. An email to your congressman, your state rep, whoever you need to be in contact with. They work for you. All right? If you send one and there's no response, send another. And another. Then you go out to the polls. You start at the bottom. You start there. You write to the district attorney. You make your voice be known. And then don't want to hear it, but let me tell you, if enough of us do it, that's the problem. We roll over because we know the odds are against us.
It's power in numbers, though.
All right? There is always power in numbers. And when you feel like you can't make it, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. If the numbers increase, your voice gets louder. And then guess what? When your voice gets louder, they can't ignore you anymore. Because guess what? When you come together, guess what? They have to respond at some time. Yes, it's slow and tedious. It is slow and tedious, but you gotta continue. All right? I'm sorry I gave my rant today. All right.
I just wanted to say one more thing. When we say that the police need, what is the word? The police need training on de-escalating a situation, that's a lie. They don't need training for that. They know how to de-escalate if they're white. If they're black, you get tased in the neck like Stanley. Anybody else want to talk?
And that's a fact.
It's also important to point out, he was by the exit by the time this happened. If he was doing anything at all, it was de-escalated. I'm under the impression that the point of the police, the point of laws in general, is that we're supposed to learn and get better. He clearly wasn't doing anything. He learned. He was ready to go. As far as I'm aware, the reason that they went after him was because he told them to have a nice day on his way out. And that pissed them off. Well, I hope they're pissed off now, because that's ridiculous. There is absolutely no reason why our tax money, our money, should be going towards people arresting unlawfully and then complaining about the fact that they're being held responsible. The chief of police believes in a tough on crime approach, but now that they're in the hot seat, he wants us to back off. But I say if we should follow his example and be tough on the police for the crimes they've committed. That is our duty. That is our job, because they serve us. They are meant to protect us, and if they don't, they shouldn't be police officers. Don't go telling me, oh, I don't want to lose my job if you aren't capable of doing it. Anywhere you go, if you don't do your job, you're fired. End of the conversation, except for the police. They either get relocated, they get sent on leave for a little bit, and then everything goes back to normal, which is why you have to keep pushing. Because if you don't,
The DA's justified
they're going to
them.
let it go slide.
That's what happened.
And the DA, like you said, he's clearly on their side, because he was all over this in a second.
Justified the whole situation. Did
So-
he even look at the tape?
Probably not. I doubt he knows anything about this community, really. Because if he did, he'd see it. He'd see that they're unrest. He'd see that we're wanting change. This is what we want, and we're not going away.
I just want to remind everyone that this is the same district attorney who said that he would refuse to enforce Governor Wolf's coronavirus law, that he wouldn't punish businesses. But as soon as it's not someone in a position of power, he's more than willing to throw them under the bus. Yeah.
I'm not sure what he did.
We don't need to respond to that.
350.
You want to tell your story about Wyomissing, please? I was a resident of this borough for 50 years. I grew up here. My mother passed away in 2018. For 2 years, the detectives of this police force have told me they gave the case back, they had a homicide, they couldn't do anything about it. We're talking identity theft, myself, my brother, my mom's estate. The Attorney General stepped in, no man's been mentioned. These people are all denying me a right to know. For 2 years of time and make an ass out of us when they've done nothing. This borough sucks. It sucks. It's all now white people here in Wyomissing. And anybody that doesn't want the bullshit
person walking out at 9 o'clock at night and Wyomissing start on screening. They're looking. That's bullshit. But they have paid my life on fraud, these detectives. And the DA said they can't stay. So who helps me? Who helps me get justice for my mother, who paid 50 years of taxes to keep their recreational park?
All they care about is themselves. All they care about is them getting paid. When they get found of doing wrongdoing, they get sent on vacation. That's what I call it, vacation, because they get on paid leave. Why are you still paying them if they're on leave? Why can't that money go towards our education? Our kids' education? Why can't that money go towards the schools? Why can't that money go towards people like this lady right here who's struggling with money? It's not fair. They don't care though. They don't care.
They don't care. That's why those officers are down there.
Okay, hey, my name's Troy. I'm not from Wyomissing. I grew up in Sinking Spring before moving to Reading. And like, you know, kind of in the sports and like that home. I didn't prepare anything to speak, so I'm just going to read a journal sometimes. So I'll read a journal entry.